Sherlock Holmes is more than a character. He is a cultural phenomenon, the archetype upon which all modern fictional detectives are built. Created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in 1887, Holmes revolutionized crime fiction by introducing rigorous scientific methodology and forensic detail into the mystery genre. This enduring legacy ensures his constant reinvention, making him arguably the most portrayed literary character in history.
Arthur Conan Doyle, a young physician struggling to establish his medical practice, sought a literary outlet for his keen observation skills. He conceived of a character based partly on his medical professor, Dr. Joseph Bell, known for diagnosing patients simply by observing their demeanor and clothing. Doyle infused this observational prowess with contemporary scientific rigor, establishing the foundation for Holmes' unique intellect.
Holmes made his debut in the 1887 novel A Study in Scarlet, where the fundamental partnership with Dr. John Watson was instantly established. Watson, a retired army doctor returning from Afghanistan, became both the narrator and the essential human counterpoint to Holmes' often cold, purely logical mind. This inaugural adventure set the stage for the narrative structure that would captivate readers for decades.
The lodgings at 221B Baker Street became the center of Holmes's world, a chaotic yet meticulous sanctuary embodying his unique personality. This famous address served as both his laboratory and the nexus point for clients from all strata of Victorian society. It is here that the detective and his chronicler would retreat to analyze evidence, contemplate motivations, and synthesize their findings. Holmes's signature method, deduction, is actually an application of inductive and abductive reasoning, moving from minute observations to broad, probable conclusions. He famously stated, "Data, data, data. I can't make bricks without clay," emphasizing his dependence on empirical facts. This focus on verifiable evidence contrasted sharply with the often fantastical or coincidence-driven mysteries of the era, elevating crime-solving to an intellectual pursuit. Dr. Watson is crucial not just as a sidekick, but as the lens through which the reader experiences Holmes's genius. He grounds the detective's eccentricities and translates his complex thought processes into accessible narrative, providing crucial context and humanity. Watson's skepticism and human empathy provide the necessary emotional core, balancing Holmes's frequently cold analytical perspective.
The publication of short stories in the Strand Magazine, starting with A Scandal in Bohemia, launched Holmes into immense international fame. Readers eagerly awaited the next installment, treating Holmes almost as a real historical figure. The public demand was so intense that people would line up at newsstands just for the latest monthly adventure, demonstrating the immediate connection readers felt.
To provide a fitting intellectual challenge, Doyle introduced Professor James Moriarty, whom Holmes described as the Napoleon of crime and the dark mirror image of his own intellect. Moriarty serves as Holmes' perfect foil, representing the pinnacle of calculated evil that only Holmes can hope to combat. Their rivalry elevated the stakes of the narratives, setting the stage for an inevitable, dramatic confrontation. Exhausted by the incessant demands of his famous creation, Conan Doyle decided to kill Holmes off in The Final Problem, 1893, tumbling him and Moriarty over the Reichenbach Falls. Doyle intended to focus on historical fiction, but the public reaction was one of genuine outrage and mourning. Thousands wore black armbands, protesting the death of their fictional hero. The intense public pressure, financial incentives, and the persistent longing for the detective's return eventually proved too much for Doyle to resist. 8 years after his supposed death, Holmes reappeared in The Hound of the Baskervilles, a prequel set before the Reichenbach incident. This novel's atmospheric terror and masterful plotting cemented the character's continued relevance and intellectual supremacy. The core Sherlock Holmes narrative, or the canon, comprises 56 short stories and 4 novels, written primarily between 1887 and 1927.
These original texts established the definitive character traits, settings, and narrative style that subsequent adaptations would endlessly reinterpret. The internal continuity and consistency within the canon is a testament to Doyle's focused world-building and narrative mastery. While Doyle rarely described Holmes's attire in great detail, certain visual elements became inextricably linked to the detective through early illustrators like Sidney Paget. The deerstalker cap, essential for country travel, and the Inverness cape became the unofficial uniform of the detective's visual identity. The iconic calabash pipe, often misinterpreted in illustrations, rounded out the recognizable silhouette.
The character quickly moved beyond the printed page, finding success in early stage plays, most notably William Gillette's production starting in 1899. Gillette's performance cemented the visual persona and introduced famous lines that were not in the original books, such as "Elementary, my dear fellow." This adaptation solidified Holmes's theatrical appeal and broad cultural reach. In the mid-20th century, Basil Rathbone's portrayal defined Sherlock Holmes for a generation, starring in 14 films alongside Nigel Bruce's portrayal of a bumbling but endearing Watson. Rathbone's sharp features and commanding presence provided the quintessential screen image of the brilliant, aristocratic detective. Although later films relocated the setting to contemporary World War II, Rathbone's intensity remained the standard. Widely regarded as the definitive screen version for accuracy, Granada Television's 1980 series starring Jeremy Brett painstakingly adhered to the narrative details and dark tone of the original canon. Brett captured not only the detective's intellectual brilliance, but also his volatility, depression, and occasional drug use, providing a complex and intensely dedicated performance. His portrayal is often cited as the most faithful realization of Doyle's creation. The 21st century saw a radical shift in Holmes' adaptations, bringing the detective's keen mind into the modern world of smartphones, high technology, and forensic databases. This included the Guy Ritchie films, focusing on action and Victorian technology, and the highly successful BBC series Sherlock, which utilized contemporary London and high-speed, dense dialogue to reflect modern life. These reinventions prove the portability of Holmes's genius. Modern interpretations often delve deeper into the psychological components of Holmes's genius, exploring his isolation and his intense focus, sometimes labeled as high-functioning sociopathy or obsessive personality. The concept of the mind palace, a mnemonic device used to store and instantaneously retrieve vast amounts of information, has become a popular and visually compelling element in these contemporary narratives. It offers a metaphor for his hyper-organized brain. The lasting appeal of Sherlock Holmes lies in the fundamental conflict between pure, rational logic and the messy, unpredictable nature of human emotion and morality. Every case challenges Holmes's detached perspective, forcing him, and through him the audience, to confront the ethical implications of his cold brilliance. This universal tension between head and heart ensures the stories remain universally relevant. Beyond fiction, Holmes significantly influenced the development of real-world forensic science and criminal investigation techniques. His fictional use of fingerprints, trace evidence analysis, and ballistic science predated the widespread adoption of these methods by actual police forces in many regions. He inspired generations of real detectives and scientists to apply empirical, scientific rigor to their inquiries. From the gaslit streets of Victorian London to the digital age, Sherlock Holmes remains the benchmark for all detective fiction, a true global icon of intellectual prowess. His character has evolved, adapted, and transcended the limits of his original page, yet his core brilliance remains undiminished. The simple formula, a great mystery, a brilliant mind, and a loyal friend, guarantees that the game is always afoot.